Hi, my name is Steve Elzinga, and I want to welcome you to this enterprise class. And I have with me a special guest, Mano from India. Where exactly?
Chennai.
From where?
Chennai.
Okay, and what's...
It's an old name, Madras.
Okay, and how would you say your whole name? I mean, we know you as Mano, but...
Oh, yes. Manoharan Jabakumar Daniel.
All right, have you got that? Hopefully they have that. I just met you today,
Yes,
but
sir.
I've learned about your ministry. Maybe you could say just a little something about that.
Yes, sir. We are, we have two main ministries in India. One is the tract ministry. We
Okay.
print about 40 million tracts in 19
How many?
languages. 40 million tracts
40
in 19
million
languages per year.
Okay.
And then we have a church ministry, which we, apart from the church ministry is also training ministry. So
Okay.
we have this both big
Yeah, so
ministries.
you do a lot.
Yes, sir,
And
for
you know
God's
India well.
kingdom.
One of the things that we're discovering is a lot of our students, they want to do the Lord's work, they want to do mission work, they want to give their life to that, but they also need to support themselves,
Sure.
their families, and a lot of times when ministry is getting started, there's no money for
Sure.
support.
Sure.
The money goes into the ministry if there is any at all, and maybe the support comes later. So we're trying to help our students with this whole idea of taking care of your families, doing like Paul.
Yes, sir.
Paul was a tent maker,
Yes, sir.
and he was an evangelist.
Yes, sir.
We're talking here in the United States about certain things, but you know more like your culture, and I think a lot of our students can relate to a situation where you don't have all kinds of opportunities. What have you learned, and what have you seen over there in India in terms of this enterprise thing?
Yes, sir. The first thing is that the best place for a minister is to give all his time to ministry.
Yeah.
But the reality is that they are not able to raise enough money for the family,
Right.
and which causes them to struggle.
Right.
And when they are struggling like that, their ministry empowered. It's not empowered that much.
Right.
It gets. And Paul, said, when he wrote, he said, "He who does not work, let him not eat."
Right.
And I take it very seriously because Paul was not talking about ministry as work.
Right.
His work was tent making.
Yes.
And so he definitely told his people, he who does not work, let him not eat.
Right.
In other words, there must have been people who said, "I'm full-time ministry and I don't want to work."
Right.
And which is what commonly in India or in Malaysia and in Sri Lanka and all these places, they really think that coming in faith to do God's work and committing full time into God's work is the only way,
Right.
which I believe is not right. Because Paul did not, he says, "I never taken anything from you, and I have put up everything that for myself."
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be a burden on. So I have seen. I mean, it's not me. It is from people I've learned.
Right.
It's from pastors whom I call leadership in obscurity. Are those who are amazing for me to see them, and practically they have come up with their own plans, and I have not prescribed any plan for them, but they have come up with plans.
Yeah.
Some of them have agricultural things, that self-sustaining agriculture. In the villages, they can grow things for themselves, and chicken and ducks and goats. Goats are a very good investment, and cows. All this, the government, once you get, the thing is to get in such a way that you get help from the government that exists already.
Okay.
So if
there's government things that may help.
Yes,
in these places.
many places.
Okay.
And because like for example, if you have a cow, just one cow, the government insures it,
Okay.
and the government buys your milk
Okay.
every day. They will buy the milk.
Okay.
So all that milk that you get
Right.
is
There's a guaranteed
yes,
sale.
and the banks are told to give such this kind of subsistence farmers
Yeah.
loans.
Okay.
So we can get that loan and get more cows, and so that is one example I've seen, and others, handicraft, and the other thing is to be of teaching tuition.
Okay.
English.
Right.
People would like to learn English in the villages. So they choose in their own areas sewing machines. They teach sewing classes for the girls in the village, and these factories who are exporting factories, they hire them.
Yeah.
So it's not alone their members, but it's just their members. The girls, after school they learn to be sewing people and cutting and all that are taught, and then they go back to work, and these people charge a little bit and they keep them.
So there's things that people could do. What have you seen in terms of part-time church workers? What kind of person does this that takes responsibility? I mean, what do you need to? Some just want to just do the Lord's work and they just refuse to work. Let's say, what kind of attitude does a church planter really need to have?
I think that they have to, first of all, listen to God.
Okay.
And I don't think they should, the begging mentality.
Okay.
And training, that's a problem, because there is a teaching from the world, the Christian world, that you have to trust God and give up everything and come to God to do
so there's
full-time work.
almost a theology of
that's
if
where
you work, you're not trusting God.
Yes,
You
enough.
have to just
yeah.
go into an church thing and have no money, and your kids and your wife have to, you have no money for the thing, but that's part of your test.
Yes, yes, and then I've seen people also successfully do that.
Yeah.
And but there are people who I think God wants us to be responsible, and for our family, and God wants us to be responsible for ourselves, and this type of all the time depending on someone to give you the next meal is not good for a pastor. And because his own, he's so dependent on the members, the believers, that he's not able to really serve them with freedom.
Right. So in some ways, when people say, I'm just going to rely on God, sometimes what they really mean is, I'm going to rely on the people.
Yes. Yes.
Because someone has to give it to them.
That's right. And then the number of people who can give is way less.
Yeah.
See, most Christians are below poverty line in India. So, see, 2/3 of our population is below poverty line.
Right.
And the Christians, most of them, in the cities, they're well off. And middle class and upper middle class and the rich are there, the Christian rich. Right. But I find the rich don't give that much. Right. The middle class and the low middle class give. The poor give more than in relation to the amount of money. Yeah. So, but the remarkable thing is, the poor people support the pastor better than the middle class people, and it's amazing. And I've seen churches, this particular church. The pastor was a cycle rickshaw man, cycle rickshaw, that man, and he was he was doing the cycle rickshaw stuff. He earned his money, and he started worshiping under a tree. Okay. Where there was the snake, they call it snake pit. It's not actually a snake pit. Snakes don't build a pit. It's white ants. Okay, pit, that's where the snakes come to eat the white ant. So there are snakes there, therefore they call it snake pit. Right, right. And this guy was having a worship under a tree, in a slum. Okay. And but slowly he started riding his cycle, getting his money.
Yeah.
In the daytime, he'll take children to school, and in the morning, and then in the daytime, he'll take some what they call savari. Savari means a ride,
Yeah.
and then in the evening, he'll bring the kids back. In the afternoons, he'll carry lunch to the children,
Okay.
the same children. That you must see. I wish I had a photo to show you.
Yeah.
In that little cycle rickshaw, there'll be 20 kids,
Okay.
and all hanging out here and there.
Okay, yeah.
So, but the guy earned his own keep, and then he built a hut with a tree inside
Okay.
the the church. The hut was built.
Okay.
Then
Wow.
after that, his people got together. They baked the brick themselves
Yep.
and built a wall around it, and then there was a tin roof. Now they had a complete concrete
Right.
roof. So it grew as the people grew. The
Right.
number of people grew.
So in some sense, he was a model
Yes.
of, this is how
Yes.
a Christian operates.
Yes.
Rather than sometimes, if you're a full-time pastor and everyone's paying you, no one else has that life.
See, that's the thing. The denominations, the big denomination pay the pastor
Yeah.
and put him to plant a church,
Right.
which the people do not feel ownership
No. Right.
of the church, not the pastor.
Right.
The pastor is somebody,
Yeah.
away from them.
And he's way different. He's not a model for anything.
That's right.
Because he.
That's
Whereas
right.
this guy building the thing, he's doing his work, and little by little, people will join him in making the bricks, and
Yes.
we're all in this together.
Yes, and they are very faithful to him and first to the Lord
yeah.
and to the church and to him.
Yeah.
They're very faithful.
So it's almost a better way to plant
Yes,
because
sir.
it gives more ownership. And then eventually, if something happens,
No, now he's full time.
okay.
Now he is full
So
time.
then, but it's in the context of this guy's a worker.
Yeah, and he gives me tithe
Yeah.
every month.
Okay.
He gives me some money. It's not
Yeah.
much, but he comes and gives me tithe.
Right.
That type of heart,
Yeah.
he was a giver to begin with
Yes.
when he was poor, and that is the background. If such a man should exist, that's why I call them LIO, because these are people who nobody cares, who
Right.
doesn't think.
Right.
And Paul in 2 Corinthians 5th chapter, he talks about unknown yet well known.
Okay.
Poor yet making many rich.
Yes.
And all this contrast that comes, and it's beautiful.
Yes.
How Paul's model is that it's not being high up,
Yes.
but to be with the people, and
To
that
be-
is what works in third world countries, because they know the pastor is somebody like him.
Yes.
That's right.
Someone who is a worker.
Yes.
Like I have paint on my hands. Because yesterday I was spraying our church wall with the paint,
Yes.
and other people
Yes.
were helping.
Yes.
And if people don't see you willing to work, why are they going to work too?
Yes.
So part of it is, it sounds like to me that to really succeed at both ministry and the enterprise of your own family and taking care of your family, you kind of have to have a heart. And what is that? What of these people that you see that succeed at that
Yes.
guy under the tree?
Yeah.
What kind of person is that?
A giving heart,
Okay.
which is not, a uniqueness about them, and it is not everybody.
Right.
I have not seen everybody. Those who want to have a regular salary, they go to denominational churches, and they apply, and then they wait, and they get a job, and it's a job for them.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm talking about the thousands of pastors, who have evolved into pastors,
Right.
not because they have a church, but because from evangelism, discipling, and nurturing, then church planting.
Okay.
And
So how would someone start? How would, I'm
So
interested, like we have people taking classes,
Yes,
and
sir.
maybe they've taken 3 or 4 or 5, and what we find is often people get more confident in their own walk,
Yes.
and And what we see often is they get more confident in terms of God's call in their life.
Sure.
That God may actually use me.
Yes.
Okay. But now they don't have the finances. They can't figure out what to do next. They don't know where the job is or what to make out of a job or,
Yeah.
they're like conflicted.
The problem is skills. They don't have skills.
Okay.
And I think as leaders, we need to instill skills in people.
Okay.
And because they don't have any skill, and
Right.
education too
Right.
is very less.
Right.
So I think sometimes they come with the skill.
Yeah.
Sometimes we not need to give them skills.
Yes.
Sometimes we might even need to provide a micro loan.
Yeah.
And give them a cow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
I've done that in several places.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
worked.
Okay.
When tsunami came,
Yeah.
we did give micro loans. We gave boats. We gave 100 boats,
Okay.
motorboats,
Yeah.
and we rebuilt 200 houses.
Okay.
And we did all that, but we wanted the people to participate.
Yeah.
And so they have to give
Yeah.
also.
Yeah.
And so the churches rebuilding,
Right.
all that we did, and when the pastor also participated.
Right.
So we don't want to have a free thing.
No.
That doesn't work.
No.
So if they want to receive tracts, they give a membership fee per year.
Okay.
So we have made it conditional that they do some kind of
Right.
commitment to share.
Yes.
And when they share their money, they're sharing themselves.
Yes. So part of I think the success is you have to get out there and own something. Even taking a class, you have to own it. You have to do the quizzes. No one has a gun to anyone's head to take the next lecture
No.
because it's online.
Sure.
And you could do it tomorrow or you could do it next week.
Yes.
So they have to be totally self-motivated
Yes.
to want to do this. But I think what I hear you saying is when you start learning things,
Yes.
you start gaining in your own confidence
Yes.
of your own skills
Yes.
and what God might do with you. So I think it sort of goes hand in hand. You're
Sure.
learning about God and His kingdom and what you can do, but also you might buy a cow or you might like step out and try
Yes.
something
Sure.
that you've never done before.
Sure. And they do. They do. I mean, but what happens is good knowledge, biblical knowledge, increases membership.
Yeah.
And when you have more members, sustenance comes
Yeah.
through that. So I believe that while these enterprises are good, it goes. Some are very good. They start making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And when they get to make a lot of money, it's a big decision for them to leave and come to ministry full time.
Right.
But those who are blessed can bless others.
Yes.
So
It works out.
Yeah, it works out both
Either
ways.
way. Either way.
Either way.
Because God may call them to enterprise.
That's right. And so I feel that if I find a good, under our diocese, if I find a good guy who's very enterprising and is able to create wealth, I would rather have him creating wealth.
Yeah, right.
Because in a situation where there's no money,
Right.
we need people who give
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
And so I think God has blessed
That's
some
a
people.
calling, too.
Yeah, it's a calling.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that full time,
Is-
is the ultimate.
Right,
It is.
Yeah.
It is all full time.
Yes. Yeah, we're all full-time.
everybody. Yes.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, in some ways, what we want to see is people that are like, 80, 90% into enterprise, bring your Christianity into your enterprise.
Yes.
And then those that are into, 100% ministry, well, bring that ministry into
Sure.
the world. And
the heart, that's
Yes.
where the heart,
Yeah.
heart of giving, the heart of commitment to God, which I think. See, I always say, LIOs are born; they are not made.
yeah.
See, they have that character
Yeah.
of going all out for God,
Right.
and you can't create that.
No. Well, what if someone's hearing that and going, that's what I'd like, but I don't know if I'm there. I'm still stuck with worrying about stuff, and I don't know. You know, there's people that can see the passionate people and the gifted people and the people that are, like you talk about the guy under the tree, and I want to
Yes.
be him.
Yes.
Right? But then I suspect that maybe I'm not. So what can I do? How do I fit into that?
Actually, we grow into it.
Okay.
You see,
So
it's-
there's hope.
Yeah,
For
there's
people that are
all
still
you need
struggling?
all you need to do is step out in faith, but not do irrational things.
Right.
And putting your family in trouble.
Right.
And then they go back from full-time ministry back to work, which demoralizes a lot of people.
Yes.
And I've had pastors leaving the church after planting a church and running away because they can't sustain their family.
Right.
So those are bad scenes, no?
Yeah. How does a guy deal with that? Let's say I plant a church and it just kind of doesn't work and they can't pay for me and I got to go back to work.
Yeah, well, I don't, I really don't criticize him.
No.
Because he has to feed his family.
Yes.
But there are other churches which can support and take over that church. And so we find if in our, we have 168 churches, and if we find there's somebody who's not able to take care and wants to just, we just give, but we give a seed money to start with. We don't give them full amount.
No.
And they can't handle.
No.
There are people who can't handle.
And not every, I think too that the attempt of a church plant is what we need to honor. Not everyone succeeds.
Yes.
But if you attempt and you fail miserably, you're one of the few in the world that even attempted. We need more people trying to take this hill.
Yes.
And so I think we should just honor anybody that's willing to do it. And if you fail,
praise God.
Praise God, because we need 100,000 more people failing
to
take this hill.
And rather than not trying at all.
Right. And maybe you'll learn something and now a season of going to work and then God will this and he'll bring this person in your life and then you'll take a few classes and who knows?
Yes.
I look at my church planning and it didn't go how I think it should go. It goes how God thinks it should go.
That is the truth.
And who knows how it's and sometimes I don't even know when I'm failing and when I'm succeeding. What I thought was success in the end wasn't.
True.
And what I thought was a failure was really
my way is not your way. The Lord always reminds me.
Yes. So I think, I guess as we end this, what word of encouragement would you give a student who's kind of in that no man's land? They're taking classes, they're working a little bit, they don't know how to put the two together.
Just take it a day at a time, number one.
Okay.
And, and trust God. And then with whatever you have, see, God, when especially when Jesus did the miracle of feeding of many thousands, not just 5,000, 5,000 men, many women also, where he asked the question, what do you have?
Yeah.
And God blesses what you have.
Yeah.
And he's not asking you to do what you don't have.
Right.
Just give what you have and see how you can seed it, plant it, and let it grow. Yeah. And the Lord helps it to grow. And I've seen always God blessing, and He can prosper you, and which you have to believe very strongly. And try small enterprises, which or let other people, the leadership, give you skills, train you for skills.
So looking
carpentry,
for someone.
We have training, carpentry training.
So mentors
sewing.
that will help you.
That's right. We put them into that type of training. I put them into computer training, where they can teach, the Word, how to do Microsoft Word, and all that. Yep. And they go out and teach in a village. Okay. So they get money. Right. And the church, in many churches, have computer schools, which they run, and provide some money.
So part of the enterprise thing is it will also help you in your ministry. Because
Yes,
you're
you
connecting
get
with
new
people.
contacts,
Yeah.
Hindus coming in and Muslims coming in,
Yeah.
and then you contact them and they start mingling with
Yeah.
you, and that brings them to Christ.
Right. You're out there in the world rather than
Yes.
sitting in your study and
Yes.
you're getting out there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, thank you, Mano. Thanks for.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We'll probably hear more from you.
My burden is that what you're sharing about that people will not stop ministry because they don't have the money,
Right.
which is not needed, because they either can earn the money, but God only asks, what have you got in your hand?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. God can feed 5,000, but He's going to start with what you have.
You must have what you
And
you know,
if it's
and you
just
have
a couple
something.
fish,
Yes.
a couple of loaves, then that's what He'll do.
Yes, sir.
So if you're struggling along and that's all you have, just go out in faith and do something.
Yeah.
And then rely on the Lord.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.